I think he's better than any of the current ones running. I couldn't in good conscience vote for Obama. I would rather vote for Jeremiah Wright than Obama. So if Ralph is running, he's the best choice. Well, recently the Rand Corporation, which is not what you would consider a left-wing think tank, it's a government military contractor, came out with a study saying that 320,000 soldiers who have returned from Iraq and Afghanistan, 320,000 have returned with mental disorders like PTSD, and 300,000 have returned with traumatic brain injury. And yet our president institutes and they keep in running a condition called stop loss, where they keep sending these young men and women back into the meat grinder to mess up their minds and bodies even more. I believe that we should stand with them and end this charade and stop the stop loss. It is a backdoor draft. Military types try to enlist General Butler in a coup attempt to overthrow Franklin Roosevelt. And then General Butler went to Franklin Roosevelt and spilled the beans on him. So
he was being patriotic enough and doing the right thing with the bonus march in the first place, to doing the right thing for the country and for the soldiers.
Think tanks that work for the major services, the Army and Army War College, etc. They get together and they figure out what is the major threat years down the road, and then they go to the Senate and go to Congress and get appropriations to finance for the platforms. It used to be they always talked about things like big platforms like aircraft carriers and things like that. Now, some years back, they started predicting and working on something they call the asymmetric warfare threat, or urban warfare. So they're not producing or they're not selling big platforms as much, like bombers and aircraft carriers and stuff. They're selling networks and electronics and stuff. So now you have something called network-centric warfare, and these companies like General Dynamics and Lockheed Martin and a bunch of other companies keep they call it spinning out too. They keep spinning out technologies like wrist-held monitor screens and aircraft that hover over doorway entries and videotape or video the perimeter of a building, so soldiers could go inside and raid and don't have to have someone standing guard outside. And they have all these products that they continually work on, and they say they're spinning them out, and they test them in war games and computers in a computer program called C's. They test them, and then they test them from there. They move them into actual war games in places like Fort Huachuca, whatever, and then they send them over to Iraq and Afghanistan. So they have a continuous process that these corporations are spinning out these technologies, not going through any kind of bid process, but they're all tied into this network called the GIG, the Global Information Grid, and all these, they're continuously spinning out these technologies, and the money's keep continuously going from the Department of Defense and now the Department of Homeland Security.
And less accounting than ever.
No accounting. And you can't get any information on this. There's information, you could get a bit of it if you get on Department of Defense websites and DARPA websites and stuff, and you put two together, you can see what's happening. But it's an ongoing thing. It's a continuous profit thing, and you can see they have a program called that they're running in this synthetic environment called Seas, and it's what they do is they have artificial persons and artificial societies and all that are running continuously in this program. And they have one program, it's called Urban Resolve 2015, where they're they're experimenting with Baghdad in the year 2015, and Iraq in the year 2015, and insurgents have threatened the oil fields. And this, if we do this, what will this Shiite group do? If we do this, what will this Sunni group? And how can we if we change this tactic, what will this group do? And they're experimenting with this in artificial intelligence environment all the time. And it was started when it's under the auspices of something called TRADOC, Training and Doctrine Command, and the person who was the commander of that program of TRADOC when that program was started, and the man that was in charge of that section of the army that was started was a man by the name of David Petraeus. Now he's, you know, the general in charge of Iraq. So he was involved in the startup of Urban Resolve 2015, urban warfare in the year 2015 in Iraq, and people, you know, and he had to get money from Congress, from Senator Obama. He had to get money from these people, right? Okay, and so you know, Obama has the nerve to ask David Petraeus, you know, how long we're going to be in Iraq, when he's giving him money, for, you know, for plans for the year 2015. It's all bullshit. You know, these guys are all liars. You know, it's
and more and more war profiteers. And they don't know anything else at this point. They only know those war profits. They don't know how to run a legitimate business.
Since 2001, the tenfold profits have gone up for the war industries.
Well, just like they say, the last war it was 4 gallons of fuel per soldier per day, and now it's 16 gallons of fuel per soldier per day for all the support and everything, and it's all becoming so inefficient they have to go to war just to go to war, not for any net gain of oil for this country or for even these corporations. It almost seems like it's a fight between the military arms dealers and the oil companies.
Well, you know, the thing is, you know, people talk about oil and you say we get most of our oil from the South, from South America and from Africa, and we don't get as much oil from that part of the world. Well, that oil was never planned for the coming to the United States. We went to war for that oil, but not for us as the people of the United States. That oil always was meant to be sold to the people of Asia. By the year 2020, Asia will have more than doubled its intake of fossil fuels. That oil was always meant to go.
So it was for the profits of the oil companies, exactly, not for our own use.
Exactly. And we're there to clear the way for the corporations to have easy access, you know, and also it's just what capitalism does. You know, if it can't expand its markets into other countries by what they call their free market, they expand the markets by bringing war to those countries and invading. From there.